So I would say that there are numerous reasons why I'm very concerned about the development of these increasingly powerful AI systems. On the one hand, you have people like Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, who has repeatedly said that the technology he's building could very well result in mass murder, ultimately, the extinction of humanity. He was asked, what's the worst case scenario if we develop superhumanly intelligent machines, and he said lights out for all of us. There was an interview he did in 2015 with the CEO of Airbnb, as it happens, in which he joked that the most likely outcome of super intelligent machines is total human annihilation. But in the meantime, at least we'll have some pretty good machine learning companies. So this got a chuckle from the crowd, but I don't think he's really joking, because he even wrote, in fact, that same year in his blog, that he thinks superintelligence is the greatest threat to human survival in the coming decades. So even if one is skeptical about the truth of what he's saying, even if one thinks that OpenAI is not on the verge, as they claim, of developing superintelligent machines in the coming years, it is still extremely alarming to hear an individual who has billions of dollars running a company that is backed by tens of billions of dollars, supported by, funded by Microsoft and so on, make these claims, right? Most people, in most other situations, if somebody said, oh, I'm up to something that might kill everyone in my neighborhood, even if you think that they're a little bit nutty, that's still just a really alarming and unacceptable thing for someone to utter. So this is one reason I'm out here, but there's also, I think it's worth not losing sight of the fact that there is a multiplicity of different issues, problems associated with AI, from environmental degradation, the amount of fresh water that the data centers use up, algorithmic bias, the perpetuation, propagation of stereotypes. There is massive intellectual property theft. So I myself, I published with an academic publishing company called Routledge, which made a deal without my consent, without the consent of any of its authors, to sell the books that they publish to Microsoft, so that OpenAI can train their models on my intellectual labor. Right? I had no say in that. There's no consent. There's no compensation. So that's another issue that greatly concerns me. And then, of course, worker exploitation. Right? So there was this article that was published in Time magazine a couple of years ago, I think it was 2023, that found that OpenAI had hired a company that was paying workers in Kenya as low as $1.32 an hour to basically sift through like material that constitutes the most extreme stuff you might ever find online. So like CSAM, descriptions of sexual assault and things of this sort. So these are individuals who are marginalized, who are disempowered, or in unfortunate circumstances getting paid almost nothing to basically get PTSD, right? And some of these individuals, their lives sort of fell apart. And there are basically just no consequences for that. OpenAI has not faced any consequences at all, neither has Sam Altman. And in the meantime, they're to the contrary. I mean, they're rushing to build increasingly large language models. Microsoft just bought 3 reactors at 3 Mile Island, so they understand that the amount of energy they need is enormously large, right? And in fact, Microsoft's carbon footprint, I think, has increased by something like 20% in the past few years. I think Google's has increased by something like 40-some% since 2019. And that's entirely because of the large language models that these individuals believe are the stepping stones that are going to lead us to artificial general intelligence, AGI. And the whole reason they want AGI in the first place is to create this utterly bizarre fantasy of replacing the biological world with a new digital world. Right? Altman himself has signed up with a company called Nectome to have his brain preserved if he dies prematurely, so that it can be digitized and uploaded to the cloud. And he said in an article for the MIT Technology Review that he thinks this will be possible in his lifetime. So the whole vision here is to create these increasingly powerful AI systems because once you have superintelligence, then you have a means for realizing this utterly strange techno-utopian vision that none of us have consented to. None of us have been, our opinions have never been solicited by these individuals. So it's another way to put it is that the future that they're working towards through the development of these advanced technologies is deeply, deeply undemocratic and not inclusive. Right? If it were democratic and inclusive, companies like this would be actually, questioning people. I'll put it differently, showing some curiosity in what it is that the rest of humanity wants out of the future. And I'll mention one last quote from Altman, who was talking about how the board of OpenAI needs to include individuals who represent people from all around the world, different cultures, different nations, different peoples, etc. Because, in his words, and I'm quoting, because if I were in on this, I'd be like, why do these fuckers get to say what my future is going to be like? Right? Those were his words. So that's why he's recognizing the undemocratic nature of the race to build AGI right now. What did OpenAI do? Well, then they went on to completely fail to represent people from all around the world. And instead their board represents very, very narrow interests, a very small portion of the human population. And so for all these reasons, it's just a deeply elitist and enormously problematic world that they're trying to create through the development of these technologies. So on the one hand, the idea of utopia, I think, is deeply flawed. On the other hand, the push, the path, the journey towards utopia is causing all sorts of harms in the present. Environmental degradation, worker exploitation, and so on. So those are my two big issues with the ongoing race to build AGI with OpenAI here, and that's why I came out to check out this place.